Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to have you here on this rainy, cold evening. As chair of the Guilford Selectboard, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by Governor Scott as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and pursuant to Addendum 6 to Executive Order 01-20 and Act 92, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Hi there, Zon. In accordance with Act 92, there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting. However, in accordance with the temporary amendments to the open meeting law, I confirm that we are, number one, providing public access to the meeting by video conference with additional access offered through telephone. We are using Google Meet for this remote meeting. All members of the Guilford Select Board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through this platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if desired, participate in this meeting by going to the website https://meet.google.com/NOE-QUSD-VPS, or by dialing 617-675-4444 and pressing in the PIN number 615-875-588-7453#. 2. Providing public notice of instructions for accessing the meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing this meeting, including how to access the meeting using Front Porch Forum, and it's posted on the Guilford's website, guilfordvt.net. 3. Providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anyone has a problem, please dial 603-558-0891. And 4, continuing the meeting if necessary. In the event the public is unable to access this meeting, it will be continued to a time and place certain. Please note that all votes taken during this meeting are done by roll call vote in accordance with the law. Let's start the meeting by taking the roll. Rusty Marine.
Here.
Miranda Porch.
Here.
Michael Becker. Zon Eastley. Zon?
Here.
Richard Wazansky here. We have our full select body. Very good. And let's move on to the recognition of the public. I see Leslie there, and I see Jennifer, and there's someone on the phone whom I don't know. Welcome, public. In regard to the public, we have rules of procedure which govern how the select board and the public interact with one another, and the ruling premise there is civility, of course. And there are additional rules as well. If you want to know them, you could get in touch with Peter Rood, who has the rules of procedure. Are there any additions to our agenda this evening?
I have none.
All right. Being as such, are there any changes to the agenda order this evening? Yes, Zon.
I had requested to update the select board about the DV fiber once a month rather than at every single meeting. So
I see. Okay, so we can
extract that one from the agenda this time.
All right. That was my mistake. I thought it was every meeting. Okay.
No,
we'll take that off the agenda then, Zon.
So
but we'll remember to keep it on monthly.
Yes.
Once a month. The first meeting of each month, we'll do it.
Yes.
Good. Great. And next, on to the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Miranda?
I do. I so move.
Do I have a second?
Yes.
That was Zon who seconded. Is there any discussion of the minutes? That being the case, I shall take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Zon?
Aye.
And Richard says aye. Thank you very much. The minutes are approved, and we're moving on to...
Richard, may I interrupt for just a brief moment?
Yes, please.
Michael, can you please mute yourself when you're not talking? We're getting a lot of feedback from you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, I can.
That's better. Okay, do we have a highway update? I see that Dan is not here from Peter.
Yes, I spoke to Dan this morning. The road crew has been blowing a lot of leaves and cleaning ditches and generally getting ready for winter. All of the trucks are now ready for winter, which has included new tires and rims, and all of them have been undercoated to protect them from salt and snow. Last year, Dan did want to let the select board know that last year was the first year he put an undercoating on all of the trucks, and he felt it was very helpful for reducing wear and damage on the trucks. So he did so again this year. And that was all he had to say.
Okay, then we can move right on to new business, which is the BDCC annual update. You have about 10 minutes, Jennifer, to update us because we've got a lot of materials that we've all memorized already. So we just need you to give us an overview of your presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm going to just give you like sort of the COVID side of the update, and then I'll let Sarah, who's here as well, just kind of talk a little bit on the program side because I hope you're all well. I hope COVID is all treating you all okay. The last several months, the theme has been sort of pivoting and then finding balance because we have done a lot of moving towards relief and support work for small businesses and nonprofits. But we're also trying to sort of run our regular programs. So I'm just going to touch on some of the relief work. I sent you something. I'm sorry I sent it just today. I just gave it to Peter today. It's kind of the town impact report you would typically get closer to town meeting. And we're trying to produce them more detail and earlier. And it gives one of the upsides of this terrible situation is that we are having a lot of contact with businesses and nonprofits because they're struggling. And we have a lot of granular data because we are administering a lot of these programs directly. Which is great. We don't have data on things that the state is doing directly yet. So I can't speak to programs that we're helping with as far as working with nonprofits or businesses that are either in Guilford or owned by people from Guilford yet that are getting state help. But basically the way that we have sort of been operating in the last several months is taking a lot of things virtually. But when it comes to folks struggling, to people who are operating a small business or sole proprietors, that it's sort of the opposite of what they need. So what we did pretty early on, and you can see this in the report I sent today, is we repurposed a lot of staff to be direct liaisons, to take phone calls, to reach out, to make emails. And we've kind of continued with this approach of just a lot of personal attention. Because frankly, all of these relief programs are different. Right now, we are concurrently just administering, not even just providing help with 3 specific different programs that are all very different rules, federal dollars, state dollars. And people just need time. I mean, I'm working on some of this. I spent 3 hours today just trying to peel apart someone's tax returns and try to figure out, what their home-based business expenses are really qualifying for. But that's very in the weeds, but I just say that as an example of like, at the end of this journey with this person that I'm helping, there's $10,000. And, I see this is really make it or break it for this household, so this is the kind of work that we're sort of deeply engrossed in. Again, I'm going to let Sarah, I'll just leave it at that. If you have any questions about it, I try to provide a lot of detail about what I do know about Guilford folks that we're working with directly. I'm going to let Sarah sort of touch on sort of what programs have done in the past year. And then if you have any questions about like how we're pivoting, Sarah is really the person. Sarah is our Zoom guru. She helps us make sure we run, good meetings, good webinars. She does that outreach to towns, just trying to make sure that we are an evolving resource during these evolving times.
Jen, I do have a question for you,
Yeah.
but I wanted to, I see there's someone on the phone. Would you like to introduce yourself, the person on the phone?
Hi there, my name is Caitlin Tacoon, a former Marlboro grad. I've just bought some property down by Sweet Pond. I'm mainly here to listen in for the DV update and will probably be dropping out soon. Hello, everybody.
Okay, well, we wanted to welcome you and welcome. So,
Thank you.
And thanks for joining us. Jen, my question is just what is and we have to do this quickly because we have 5 minutes left, but what is the role? Are funds being funneled through the BDCC from the state and the feds? Because in your report, you mentioned that you mentioned a lot of the money that's coming from the federal government as if it were coming to you and you were helping in the distribution. So I don't quite understand your position in that.
They're all totally different. So when it comes to PPP and EIDL, like all we can be is a tactical assistance resource. We are not an SBA lender. We have been in the past, maybe in the future, who knows. But because there was sort of not enough counseling available, and we were able to sort of try to connect people directly with SBA through webinars and provide tactical support. When it comes to CDBG, we are actually we are one of 2 designated allocate providers in the state. We were asked by the state to administer it because we've done this before around Tropical Storm Irene. So we don't have the money. We have to, once someone's award is approved, then we, invoice the state and then they pay. So we don't really hold the money. Same thing for REVTA, which is the tactical assistance, which is state dollars. And that's paying vendors to help businesses with tactical assistance. Same thing. They go through a process that we designed and administer. And then, the money is reimbursed by the state. So, and that also was done through these are in part because we have the capacity to do this because we sort of developed that through disaster recovery and Tropical Storm Irene that the state has come back and said, please. And then for the REVTA ones, we designed a program that every region could get more direct support through the RDCs. And so all 12 RDCs are working on that, but BDCC is also the administrator of that.
Okay, thank you. I got it.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be quick because you all, I think, have a pretty good understanding of what we do and our programs, but just wanted to touch on some of the Guilford specific within the past year. So our Pipelines and Pathways program, which is in all 4 of the regional high schools, there are 110 students from Guilford that participated in the Pipelines and Pathways. And that's, field trips, mock interviews, professional workshops, career awareness classes. Obviously, P3 has done pivoting, and much like most of us have, providing online resume and interview training for LNA students at Vermont Technical College. And they're working very, very closely with each of the high schools and sort of mirroring what the high schools are doing. They all can sort of choose their own adventure, if you will. Southern Vermont Young Professionals, we continue to hold events. For the beginning of COVID, it was all virtual. Starting in August, we were holding in-person events, like kayaking and yoga, things that we could do outside, distance, a lot of hikes in there. And actually, most recently, this past weekend, we did a farm tour at Franklin Farm in Guilford. And we also just launched our professional development grant program. So for members of the YP group, they can apply for up to $500 to help pay for professional development. And that looks like a lot of different things for different members. And then lastly, I'll just touch on Southern Vermont Economy Project. You should have, at least Peter should have received this postcard in the mail and hopefully passed it along to you. It has a list of our upcoming workshops and webinars. We have one tomorrow on the Municipal Engagement for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Toolkit. That's one of our Knowledge Bites webinars. And then most importantly, we have our grant writing workshop coming up mid-November. It's a 3-day workshop. Not full days, but parts of each day. We hired a trainer to come teach grant writing. That is a one-on-one technical assistance time slot that people. So I'll just leave it at that because there's more detail in that report that you all have. I'm happy to answer questions.
Are you aware that you need to? Don't you need to file a petition this year to the town meeting?
Yep, we have been collecting signatures. I believe we're almost at 60 signatures. So, it is what it is, and I think we'll probably reach the correct amount in due time. So we are definitely working on that.
Great. Does the select board have any questions for Sarah or Jennifer? Well, thank you for the update, and thank you for sending those materials, which I'm sure I read and with interest, and I hope and Zon has too. Good. Thanks, and you're welcome to leave or to stay with us. I know that someone's got Bulgur wood in the oven.
Yes, dinner time.
To go put to bed.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Thanks, everyone.
Our next item on the agenda is the new Recreation Commissioner, and who wants to speak to that?
I can briefly talk on that, and I'm sure Veranda will have something to say as well. But Wendy Stone from the Recreation Commission let me know that they unanimously would like to recommend Tenzin Mathis to be appointed as their newest commissioner. He is a Guilford resident and a junior at BUHS, and he has been volunteering quite a bit of time with the commission on the work they're doing and some of their activities. And
Great. Miranda, did you want to add to that?
Well, I think you could imagine the value that he adds to that commission, the friendships that he has with other Guilfordites, the capacity to plan things that will be engaging to high school students, his mentorship of the younger kids. It's just
I think it's a great choice.
And I don't really know that any of the other commissions has a student on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so this might be a wave of the future.
Zon?
So I just have a question. Learning still here. It's great to have a student on this commission. I just don't know if there are policies in the state or anything that would disallow students to be engaged for responsibility issues, accountability, anything like that, or are we free to appoint anyone that we feel is worthy of serving?
Peter, do you know the answer to that?
From my understanding,
Peter.
Sorry about that. From my understanding, the select board, as long as the young person has permission from their parent or guardian, the select board can appoint anyone that they deem as suitable to a role in town. I mean, he could run for select board for that matter if he wanted to.
Well, that might be next.
Let's get it going.
Yeah. So do I have a motion to appoint him to the select board?
I move
to the
that we
Recreation
accept,
Commission?
Tenzin Mathis as a member of the Rec Commission.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Is there any discussion? I shall take the roll then. Rusty?
I mean, one question. I mean, Veranda, you attend some of these meetings. I mean, has he attended?
I do.
Yeah. I mean, has he's actually personally expressed interest?
Yeah, he did. He's helped out in a bunch of different rec commission activities. And so one day somebody said, would you consider? And he said yes. And he spoke to his parents, and his parents are also friends. You know, they're all young people.
Yeah.
No offense.
Nice family.
And they, so they all know each other. And it's, I think, it's not an arduous position. Let me put it that way.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'll take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Don? Richard? Aye. Very good. So we need to welcome Tenzin Mathis to the Recreation Commission. Yippee. I think it's great to have a young person and young people generally on, particularly someone like Tenzin, who's very gentle and intelligent and energetic young man from what I know of him. So he volunteers at a lot of town events. Now on to the new Finance Advisory Committee member. What we wanted to do here is just discuss the fact that Katie has moved away from Guilford and is no longer on our Finance Advisory Committee. And we don't have to have a new member, but we thought we'd do it this meeting is to ask if anybody has any suggestions for whom we might ask to be a member. Yes, Veranda?
I know that Lynn Pancake had expressed interest, and he was a finance person at Hosting Frisian, I think, for his professional life. And Lois had mentioned to me when I ran into her that he would help out in any way he could.
Oh, great. Does anyone else have any other names?
It's the guy who pointed out the error in the town report on the committee now?
Yes, he is.
Is that Tim? Is that his name?
Correct.
He already is. Okay. Yeah. That was nice.
So, do I have an assent from the select board that we should ask Lynn if he's interested in
I think Lynn would be great. He's on the Green River Village Preservation Trust. He's the treasurer. He does a nice job. So I recommend him.
That's good to hear. Do we need we're not appointing, but we're just going to ask if he wants to, and I guess we can save the appointment for next meeting if he says yes. Yep. All right. Very good. Thank you.
So hang on. Who should get in touch with him?
Peter.
Oh, great.
So either Michael or Miranda, may I have contact information for Lynn?
Oh, Michael probably has it.
I can pass it along to you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I will
Peter,
reach out to him.
Do you agree that that's in the realm of your responsibilities?
Oh, by all
me
means.
or Peter? Oh.
Either one. I mean, I can also reach out to Lynn and I can copy Michael on the email just so he knows where I got the information from.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious, does the select board think that that's the appropriate way to make the request, or should it be a member of the select board?
Or a member of the committee? Aren't some of these other commission appointments coming from the commission themselves?
Well, the recommendation does come from them, yes. But I mean, it's ultimately the select board responsibility as far as who gets appointed. It just so happens that our commissions versus this committee are quite involved in that process usually.
So this is a committee.
Yeah.
This is a committee, yes, the Finance Advisory Committee.
On the agenda, it says commission, and so I misread. Sorry, my fault.
You know what, Peter? If you don't mind, I think I would like to ask Lynn Pancake about it.
As you wish, Richard. Not a problem at all.
Okay. All right. So I need his contact information. Very good.
I'll send it to you, Richard. Would that be helpful? Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to mention that
something just telling me that it's more appropriate for a select board member to do these kinds of things. Yeah. Now, on to some very good news, the tax revenue situation.
Yes. So I spoke with Penny last Thursday, at least as of Thursday. So just as a very short reminder to everyone, technically Penny can receive tax payments after the tax deadline as long as they are postmarked with the final date of the tax deadline. So due to the current state of the postal system, I did hear from her that she suspected that she would get some late items in the mail that she can legally still apply without them being delinquent. So these numbers may change, but as of Thursday afternoon, Penny has collected $5,706,349.69. After the select board makes the school tax payment tonight, that will leave us with a balance of $2,336,355.82. At town meeting this past spring, the town approved a budget of $2,182,956. So that leaves us with a positive balance of $153,399.82. So this is obviously very, very positive news for Guilford, considering the situation that many other towns are facing. But I want to caution folks that we don't want to get too excited. First, one point to note is that of this positive balance, that we had over 52,000 in unbudgeted highway overtime last year that gets negated out of that surplus. Penny and I discussed it. Whilst this year does look good, it may unfortunately only be short term because if COVID continues, which obviously by the state of the world it looks like it is, and if unemployment continues, which presumably will, this could be problematic for us next year. So for the remainder of this fiscal year, we are in a very, very positive position thanks to the work of Penny and her team. But let's just wait and see how things fare for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you to Penny.
Any questions or comments about that?
Well, I just think it's also due to the commitment and the fiscal responsibility of our taxpayers. I mean, it must have taken a lot to be able to do that in these times. And I think that this would be a wonderful moment for our select board to thank the people for doing this, because it's pretty amazing.
Well, let's thank them. Thank you, Tom.
I'll make sure that gets noted in the minutes.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Air filtration.
Oh, excuse me, Peter. I wonder if would it be appropriate to put some kind of note about that on the town website? Just that the taxes have been collected and that Guilford has really come through.
By all means.
I
mean, if the select board wishes me to do so, I'm happy to do so. But I think
I'm hesitant about it.
I'm a little reluctant too. It maybe sends a message like, "Yay, we're good to go."
I mean, it's taxes.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think it was pretty extraordinary.
And I'm glad we've said thank you in public now, and it will be in the minutes. But
that's fine. It was just a whim.
Yes. Okay. Zon, did you want to say something?
Well, I agree with everyone that maybe talking specifically about taxes is a little bit weird. Gives me pause. But I do think there might be a place, like in the Gazette or something, for the select board to speak to the community and about the reaction to COVID so far. And that could be one point inside of
maybe we could do it at town meeting.
Huh? At town
Maybe
meeting.
We could do it at town meeting.
Yeah, that would be fine.
That sounds like a good idea.
Very good. Any other? So that's a good. I had put air filtration for town buildings on the agenda because, as you know, I'm a trustee of the library, and the library was thinking that there should be some kind of air filtration, on not a grand air filtration, but given COVID, that buildings that people go into do have upgraded air filtration systems, and that could be as minimal as an air filter or a humidifier, an air filter in a humidifier. And I'm wondering what you thought about if we should investigate air filtration for the health of our customers, who are our townspeople, and our staffs. Whether we should investigate what filtering the library's air and the town office air.
I mean, on a technical level, the new HVAC system that was installed at the town office does have, albeit relatively rudimentary filtration system, but it does have a filtration system as part of the entire thing that was installed. So
any other comments?
Well, I understand from work at the Brattleboro Music Center that there are guidelines that are put out by the state for levels of compliance. And I just assume that all of our public buildings would be in compliance, or is there some need to check on, to line those things up? I'm just not aware. And I think that's.
I would like to check on it. Peter, could you check the state compliance regulations? Yes. and see whether our library and our town office are in compliance?
I will look into that and get
further
back to
than
the
just compliance
Selectboard.
too, if we thought it was. Any further comments about that or questions? No. Okay, great. Peter, budget preparations for FY22, if you can believe it. It seems like we just went through this.
Yep. So Richard just wanted me to let everyone know that starting this week, I'm reaching out to all the various social service agencies and organizations and whatnot that submit appropriation requests to us for the upcoming budget, and I will start my annual work on preparing the budget for the select board, going through what the town side spent, versus what was budgeted for this past year, as well as doing the same thing with Danny for the highway department. And then we'll also begin. I'm going to be putting out a doodle poll for select board members to schedule your annual budget meetings. So if you could look out for an email about that and fill that out, it'd be much appreciated. And then once we get those meetings set, then I'll be working with the Finance Advisory Committee on a similar little process for them on the side. So yeah, that's underway now.
Rusty, did you want to? Yes.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering. Like they said, we went over budget. What was it, 52,000 on the town garage? Is it that they don't budget their overtime, or that was over their estimate?
So it was over there. From my understanding, from talking with Penny, I haven't looked at the information yet myself. That will be part of my review process. So we do budget for highway department overtime. That is part of the work that I do with Danny every year. The situation with that is it's really difficult to tell what winter weather is going to be like beforehand. We don't want to budget 20% of the highway budget for overtime and collect taxes for that, and then only have 5% overtime, if that makes sense. And so we generally, at least historically, Guilford has aimed for approximately 10% of their time to be overtime during the winter. Sometimes we go over that. Sometimes we're under that. But since state statute says that we're supposed to be as close to a level funded, not level funded, but as our budget matching up with what we collect for taxes every year. We can't budget a surplus and collect a surplus on taxes. State law prohibits that. So, because we budget the way that we do, it just rolls over, and it's thankfully, because Guilford's in a good financial position, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, but I do suggest, and I think that maybe you're getting at this, Rusty, and I know that Penny was getting at this with me, is that we should look at that line item of the overtime more carefully in the coming budget process, so that we're all aware of what the overtime is and what percentage we're designating, for overtime. So we'll take care to look at that more concentratedly. Yes, Zon.
Question. So overtime, it's very tricky to budget. I would imagine it would be really tricky, and so it must be built on averages or whatever. But are there other mechanisms for paying for overtime rather than out of the budget? I mean, we have capital budgets that we hold apart and pay for projects out of capital funding. Are there any tools or mechanisms that would allow us to set up for payroll or anything like that?
So at the moment, because we do have a highway reserve fund, in any surplus from the highway department, because of state statute, automatically goes into that highway reserve fund. So first, what we would do is at the end of the fiscal year, if there's any surplus left over in the overall combined budget between highway and the town, that would go to cover that deficit. Should we have a year like we did last year, in which there is no surplus or there's a very minimal surplus, then that comes out of the that overspending comes out of the highway reserve fund. If there are no funds in the highway reserve fund, then it would come out of the general reserve fund. And if that has also been drained dry, but per our policy, it won't be, then the select board would have to figure out how to deal with that. But
that does answer your questions on, there are reserve funds that are used for that purpose.
But those reserve funds can only be added to kind of inadvertently if there are surpluses. It's not something we could actively add to.
Oh, you could if you wanted to. Yes, absolutely.
So we could okay. So we could chuck in, say, $50,000 a year, for instance, into a reserve fund if we thought that was something we wanted to do.
Absolutely,
in order
by all
to
means.
Yes,
by all means.
Yeah.
All right.
And that would be something that would be of interest, I think, to the Finance Advisory Committee to think about as well, as if we discuss this further, which we should.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Miranda?
I had a question about the relationship between the select board budget making process and the Financial Advisory Committee. Do we cast a budget and they review it, or do they make recommendations and we fold them in?
What's the word I'm looking for? Their task, what did we do to the committee? Their mandate from the select board. That's not the right word, but it's a synonym for mandate that I'm looking for.
Charge.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Their charge from the select board is to review the budget after we have done it and to advise on the budget and to really comb through it and making sure that there are not errors, because as you remember, we formed the Finance Advisory Committee because there was an error and we want to avoid that. So, but it's the select board's responsibility to create the budget.
Okay, just clarifying.
I'm wondering, would it be helpful to assemble some sort of simple spreadsheet or table that just shows some basic overtime highway department numbers over the like trends over the past 10, 20, 30 years?
I do that every year.
Yeah, I know you do, but I mean, is there something that could be put together just so we could have it in front of our eyes just to see over the years how it's compared? I mean, I know you have the numbers, on file somewhere, but I think just to see how much we go over budget each year, every year, just to see so we can see the trend.
Yeah, of course. But I can put something like that together if that's what you guys want.
Yeah,
does that sound
I
helpful,
think
or?
that's a good idea. I think that would be very helpful. Does anybody disagree with that? Okay, thank you very much. On to the last item on our agenda, no, except for the warrants, is the COVID update.
Yes. So, unfortunately, the COVID, as I'm sure many of you know, the COVID situation has been getting worse across the country, and unfortunately, it's no different in Vermont. The past 2 weeks in Vermont has seen an increase in cases across the state. However, most of those have been in central and northern Vermont. Currently, children are defined by the state as individuals 19 years old or younger are the fastest growing demographic for new cases. Many of the newest cases in the past 2 weeks have come from a variety of youth hockey leagues, which has also been occurring in New Hampshire and Maine as well. They've seen dramatically more cases than Vermont. So because of that, the governor has ordered a temporary closure of all hockey rinks and a pause on all hockey activities in the state for the next 2 weeks to see if that has an impact on the growth of cases. Additionally, for anyone who was not aware, last week, Governor Scott extended his executive order for another month until November 15th.
Thank you, Peter. I would add that, do you all get the report from Mark Bosma from the state? I get it. It's a daily COVID. And today's had a very interesting section about discussing COVID and making your plans for events of getting together with people or celebrating Thanksgiving, for instance. So if you get, I can forward it to you if you want me to. You get it? Yeah, we all get it, I think. Yeah. So I would ask, I thought that it was a very interesting way to how to talk about COVID in the context of risk taking in regard to congregating or socializing with your friends and family. All right, on to the warrants.
Okay. Okay, I move that we pay the following warrants. Week 10, 18, 20 for the sum of $6,307.64. Payroll week 10, 25, 20 for the sum of $5,973.29. And take a deep breath. Expense warrant number 2008 for the sum of $3,397. Wait a second, $397,370.39. Did I manage to get that out in one piece? Okay. For the sum of $3,409,651.32. And of course,
do I have a second of that for that motion? Okay, Zon has seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, and of course, you know what that's for.
Yes, the school, the education.
I need to make quick correction on there because the expense warrant, Veranda, I think you're looking at the agenda and maybe an.
Oh, was there a change?
Yes, there was a brief change. There was an expense warrant FW08 for $58.50, which made the grand total $3,409,709.82. Penny sent to me that very late in the day, so I apologize for that.
Okay, well, let the record show that correction, please.
Yes, it does.
Okay, good. Any communications, Peter?
First of all, who seconded that, and did you take a vote?
Oh, no, we didn't take a vote. I'm sorry. I do that every time. Zon seconded it. Okay, Veranda made the motion. And I will take the roll. Rusty.
Aye.
Veranda.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Zon.
Aye.
Richard. Aye. Okay, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Richard.
Now
I do not have any communications this evening. The action summary from the previous meeting is the Select Board approved the grants and aid letter of intent to participate in the program for 2021, which has been sent to the program manager, and they have acknowledged receipt of our intent. I also was to update the Select Board on tax collections to date, which I did, and you folks heard earlier this meeting. For actions taken for this meeting, the Select Board appointed Tenzin Mathis to the Recreation Commission. For actions to be taken.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Actions to be taken is Richard will reach out to Lynn Pancake about joining the Finance Advisory Committee. I am to investigate state statute on fresh air regulations for town buildings, and I am to compile annual overtime data for past number of years and present that to Select Board members. And hopefully I didn't miss anything there.
In that table, could we see like percentage? Because thinking $50,000 in 1984 is not, the same as now. So I think that would be helpful. Is that
Yeah, I'll
possible?
put together a bunch of information and share it with you. And if you want more granular data than what I give you, let me know and I can adjust it.
Excellent.
Okay, I just think percentage of the budget would be
Zahn
helpful.
had a comment or a question.
Peter, I don't know if you counted as action that the select board or whatever, but you were going to set up some budget meetings or Google begin that process.
Oh, yes, that's
Did
right.
you mention that? I don't think you
No,
did.
I did not. Thank you. Thank you, Zahn.
All right. Any further comments or questions? Well, it's that time again.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Rusty, thank you. Is there any discussion?
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's mutual. I shall take the roll now. Rusty?
Aye.
Veranda? Michael?
Aye.
And Zahn?
Aye.
And Richard? Aye. Well, once again, it's been a pleasure to see you all, and another a quick, efficient meeting. And I thank you very much. And we'll
Good
see you
night.
next time, if
Okay.
not
Good
before.
night, everyone. Thank you.